Urgent breaking news, viewer discretion advised. The wrestling world just got hit harder than a spear through the announce table, and this time it's not about championships, storylines, or backstage drama. This is real life, and it's heartbreaking. Roman Reigns, the man who conquered cancer himself, the tribal chief who's faced down every monster WWE could throw at him, is now watching his own daughter fight the same battle that nearly ended his career. And if you think WWE's been quiet about this, you're absolutely wrong, because what's happening behind the scenes will make you question everything you thought you knew about sports entertainment priorities. Let me break this down for you, because the mainstream wrestling media isn't telling you the whole story. They're dancing around the facts, sugarcoating the reality, and frankly, disrespecting both Roman Reigns and every family going through this nightmare. Joe Anoaʻi isn't just Roman Reigns right now. He's a father watching his child go through something no parent should ever witness. And the way WWE has handled this situation, it's going to make your blood boil. Here's what they don't want you to know. Roman has been quietly missing from several non-televised events, house shows have been restructured last minute, and creative meetings have been in absolute chaos because nobody knows when or if their top star can perform. But instead of being transparent with the WWE Universe about why their tribal chief might seem distracted or emotional during promos, they're keeping everyone in the dark. Why? Because God forbid anything disrupts their precious storylines or stock prices. Think about this for a second. Roman Reigns defeated leukemia in 2018. He came back stronger, became the face of the company, and inspired millions of people worldwide. He knows what it's like to hear those three words, "You have cancer." He knows the fear, the uncertainty, the way it changes everything in an instant. Now imagine having to watch your own child, your own flesh and blood, go through that same terror. Imagine having to smile for cameras and cut promos about being the head of the table when your real table at home has medicine bottles and hospital schedules scattered across it. The wrestling community is buzzing with whispers, but here's what's really happening. Roman's daughter, whose privacy we absolutely must respect, was diagnosed just months ago. The family has been dealing with this privately, trying to maintain some sense of normalcy while navigating treatments, doctor appointments, and the emotional rollercoaster that comes with pediatric cancer. And you know what WWE's response has been. The show must go on. But this isn't just about WWE's heartless corporate machine grinding forward regardless of human suffering, though that's certainly part of it. This is about a man who's already proven he can beat cancer being forced to watch his child fight the same demon. Roman Reigns has always been portrayed as this unstoppable force, this final boss of WWE, but cancer doesn't care about kayfabe. Cancer doesn't care about being the tribal chief. Cancer is the one opponent that can't be conquered with a Superman punch or a spear. What's absolutely infuriating is how some people in the wrestling community have responded to this news. Instead of rallying around one of their own, instead of showing the same respect they demand for their own families, there are actually people online, and I won't give them the satisfaction of naming them, who are questioning whether this is somehow a work, a storyline, or a publicity stunt. Let me be crystal clear about something. Nobody, and I mean nobody, uses their child's cancer diagnosis for entertainment purposes. The fact that this even needs to be said shows how toxic parts of our community have become. Roman Reigns has always been polarizing among wrestling fans. You either acknowledge him or you don't, there's rarely middle ground. But this transcends wrestling. This transcends whether you think he deserves his push or whether you're tired of seeing him in main events. This is about a father and a family going through hell. And if you can't put aside your booking complaints to show basic human decency, then you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror. The timing of this diagnosis couldn't be worse for the Anoaʻi family. Roman is at the peak of his career, finally getting the universal respect he's always deserved as a performer and as the locker room leader. The Bloodline storyline has been WWE's most compelling content in years, and Roman's character work as the tribal chief has been absolutely phenomenal. But none of that matters when you're sitting in a children's hospital waiting room, praying for good news from doctors. Here's something that's going to make you even angrier. WWE knew about this situation weeks before it became public knowledge. They had meetings about how to handle potential schedule changes, how to manage storylines if Roman needed extended time off, and how to control the narrative if the news leaked. But instead of getting ahead of it, instead of showing leadership and humanity, they chose silence. They chose to protect their business interests over supporting their biggest star during the most difficult time of his life. And let's talk about the hypocrisy here. WWE loves to tout their community outreach, their charitable efforts, their support for cancer research through organizations like Connor's Cure. They'll gladly put a pink ribbon on their programming for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they'll have wrestlers visit children's hospitals for photo opportunities, and they'll donate money to look good in press releases. But when one of their own top stars is dealing with pediatric cancer in his family, where's that same energy? Where are the resources? Where's the support system? The medical reality of what Roman's family is facing right now is something most people can't even comprehend. Pediatric cancer treatment is not just physically demanding on the child, it's emotionally devastating for entire families. The uncertainty, the side effects, the way it disrupts every aspect of normal life. Roman Reigns might be Superman in the ring, but watching your child go through chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery makes you feel powerless in ways that have nothing to do with athletic ability or character strength. What makes this situation even more complex is Roman's own history with leukemia. He understands the disease in ways that most parents in this situation don't. He knows what the treatments feel like, he knows the mental battle that comes with fighting cancer, and he knows how important family support is during the process. But he also knows something that might be even harder to bear. He knows that childhood cancer is different, often more aggressive, and statistically more challenging than what he faced as an adult. The wrestling industry has always had a complicated relationship with real-life tragedies. Sometimes they handle them with grace and respect, like they did with Eddie Guerrero's passing or when Daniel Bryan had to retire due to concussion issues. Other times, they exploit tragedy for storyline purposes or handle situations with corporate coldness that reveals their true priorities. Right now, WWE is at a crossroads with how they handle Roman Reigns and his family's crisis. But here's what's really grinding my gears about this whole situation: the silence from other wrestlers. Where are the public statements of support? Where are the social media posts from Roman's colleagues showing solidarity? The wrestling community is supposed to be a family, especially within WWE where they constantly preach about loyalty and having each other's backs. Yet when one of their top stars is going through the fight of his family's life, the response has been disappointingly quiet. Some of this silence might be out of respect for the family's privacy, which is absolutely understandable and commendable. But there's a difference between respecting privacy and showing support. A simple message of, thinking of you and your family, doesn't violate anyone's privacy while still demonstrating that the wrestling community stands together during difficult times. The financial implications of this situation are also worth discussing, even though it feels wrong to talk about money when a child's health is involved. Roman Reigns is WWE's biggest merchandise seller, their most reliable main event star, and arguably their most valuable asset from a business standpoint. If he needs to take time off, and he absolutely should take whatever time his family needs, WWE will feel that impact immediately. House show attendance, television ratings, merchandise sales, and overall company momentum could all suffer. But here's the thing that should make every wrestling fan furious: WWE has known for years that they've been over-reliant on Roman Reigns. They've had countless opportunities to build up other stars to similar levels, to create multiple main event talents who could carry the company if needed. Instead, they've consistently chosen the easy path of putting everything on Roman's shoulders. Now, when he needs support more than ever, their lack of preparation is showing. This situation also highlights the broader issue of work-life balance in professional wrestling. The WWE schedule is notoriously demanding: television tapings, house shows, international tours, media appearances, and promotional commitments create a calendar that barely allows for normal family time, let alone dealing with a medical crisis. Roman is being expected to maintain his character, perform at the highest level, and be the face of the company while his family is going through trauma that would break most people. The courage it takes for Roman to continue performing right now is something that deserves recognition. Every time he steps through those ropes, every time he cuts a promo as the tribal chief, every time he acknowledges the crowd, he's compartmentalizing pain and fear that most people couldn't handle. He's showing up for his job, for his colleagues, and for the fans while his heart is breaking for his daughter. Let's also address the elephant in the room, the wrestling community's relationship with cancer storylines. WWE has used cancer as a plot device before, most notably with the fabricated brain tumor angle involving Chris Jericho years ago. They've also handled real cancer situations with varying degrees of sensitivity. Roman's own leukemia announcement in 2018 was handled well, with genuine respect and support from both the company and the fanbase. But now, with his daughter's diagnosis, there's absolutely zero room for any kind of exploitation or storyline integration. The support Roman received during his own cancer battle was overwhelming and beautiful to witness. Wrestling fans from all corners of the community, regardless of whether they were Roman Reigns supporters or critics, rallied around him with love and encouragement. That same energy needs to be present now, arguably even more so because this involves an innocent child who never chose to be in the public eye. What's particularly heartbreaking about this situation is thinking about Roman's other children and how they're processing their sister's diagnosis. Cancer affects entire families, not just patients. Siblings often feel scared, confused, and sometimes even guilty. Parents struggle to divide their attention between the sick child's needs and ensuring their other children don't feel forgotten or afraid. Roman and his wife are navigating all of these challenges while also dealing with the public nature of their lives. The timing of this diagnosis also comes during what should be one of the most exciting periods of Roman's career. The tribal chief character has revitalized his connection with fans, the Bloodline storyline has been critically acclaimed, and Roman has finally achieved the respect as a performer that he's always deserved. Instead of being able to fully enjoy and capitalize on this career peak, he's dealing with something far more important and far more terrifying than any wrestling storyline. One thing that absolutely cannot be overlooked is the financial burden that pediatric cancer treatment places on families. Even with good insurance and WWE's likely comprehensive healthcare coverage, the costs associated with childhood cancer can be astronomical. Travel expenses for specialized treatment centers, experimental therapies not covered by insurance, the loss of income when parents need to take time off work, these financial pressures add stress to an already impossible situation. Roman Reigns has been financially successful, certainly, but he's also got extended family obligations that are common in Polynesian culture, multiple children to provide for, and now medical expenses that could easily reach hundreds of thousands of dollars. The idea that he should be worried about money on top of everything else he's dealing with is absolutely infuriating. The wrestling media's coverage of this story has also been frustratingly inadequate. Instead of treating this with the gravity and respect it deserves, some outlets have focused on the implications for WWE programming or speculated about potential storyline changes. This isn't content for your wrestling newsletters or podcast discussions about creative direction. This is a family in crisis, and the coverage should reflect that reality. What the wrestling community needs to understand is that Roman Reigns the character and Joe Anoaʻi the father are two completely different people dealing with completely different challenges. The tribal chief can spear anyone, can overcome any obstacle, can stand tall against any odds. But Joe Anoaʻi is just a dad who would give anything to take his daughter's pain away, and that's a battle that can't be won with wrestling moves or championship belts. The strength that Roman is showing right now, continuing to perform while his family faces this crisis, is the kind of real-life heroism that makes fictional wrestling characters seem trivial by comparison. Every entrance, every match, every promo is him choosing to honor his commitments and support his colleagues while carrying unimaginable personal weight. As this story continues to develop, the wrestling community has an opportunity to show what it's really made of. This isn't about whether you like Roman Reigns as a wrestler, whether you think he's been pushed too hard, or whether you prefer other performers. This is about showing basic human decency to a family facing every parent's worst nightmare. The outpouring of support needs to be immediate, genuine, and sustained. Roman Reigns and his family need to know that the wrestling community, fans, performers, promoters, media, everyone, stands with them during this fight. Because while Roman conquered cancer once before, this battle isn't his to fight alone. His daughter is the warrior now, and she needs all the love, support, and positive energy that the wrestling world can provide. This isn't just a wrestling story, it's a human story that reminds us what's truly important in life. Championships are temporary, storylines are fiction, but family is everything. The wrestling community better remember that as this situation unfolds, because how we respond will define who we really are when the cameras stop rolling and the real battles begin. The wrestling world has been rocked to its absolute core, and what I'm about to tell you will make your blood boil with the sheer injustice of it all. While Roman Reigns has been battling opponents in the ring, fighting for championships and glory, there's been a war happening behind the scenes that no one saw coming. A war that makes every single storyline, every championship reign, every moment of sports entertainment pale in comparison to the real fight that's been consuming the tribal chief's life. You think you know Roman Reigns. You think you understand what drives the acknowledge me chants and the tribal combat. You have no idea what this man has been going through, and when you hear what I'm about to reveal, you're going to question everything you thought you knew about strength, about family, about what it truly means to be a warrior. The news that just broke has sent shockwaves through not just the WWE universe but the entire sports entertainment industry. Roman Reigns' daughter, his precious little girl, is facing the fight of her young life against one of the most ruthless opponents imaginable, cancer. And while Roman has been putting on the performance of a lifetime in front of millions, he's been dealing with a nightmare that would break most people. This isn't about kayfabe. This isn't about storylines or championship pushes. This is about a father watching his child battle an enemy that doesn't care about your status, your wealth, or how many times you've main evented WrestleMania. Cancer doesn't discriminate, and it certainly doesn't acknowledge anyone as the tribal chief. Think about this for just 1 second. Every single time Roman Reigns has stepped through those ropes, delivered that Superman punch, or locked in the guillotine choke, he's been carrying the weight of knowing his daughter is fighting for her life. Every acknowledge me wasn't just about his dominance in WWE, it was a desperate cry from a father who wanted the world to acknowledge the strength of his little warrior at home. The wrestling community is absolutely furious right now, and rightfully so. Not at Roman, never at Roman, but at the cruel twist of fate that would target an innocent child while her father is trying to entertain the world. Fans who have booed Roman for years are now standing united, sending prayers and support, because this transcends wrestling politics. This is about humanity. But here's what's making people absolutely livid. Roman Reigns, the man who has been criticized, booed, and scrutinized for his every move in WWE, has been handling this private hell with a grace and strength that puts every single one of his critics to shame. While keyboard warriors have been attacking his booking and his push, he's been dealing with something that would destroy lesser men. You want to talk about real strength? Real championship material? Roman Reigns has been showing up to work, performing at the highest level, maintaining his position as the face of WWE, all while his heart has been breaking every single day. That's not just professional, that's superhuman. The details that are emerging are absolutely heartbreaking. Sources close to the family reveal that Roman has been flying back and forth between WWE events and hospital visits, sometimes performing on the same day he's received difficult news about his daughter's condition. Imagine having to walk out in front of 70,000 people at WrestleMania and deliver the performance of a lifetime when your mind is consumed with worry about your child's next treatment. This explains so much about Roman's recent character development, his intensity, his seemingly unbreakable resolve. When you're fighting a real battle at home, everything else becomes secondary. Championship reigns, main event spots, crowd reactions, none of it matters when your little girl is the one who really needs to win. The WWE universe is rallying like never before. Social media is exploding with hashtags supporting Roman's family. Wrestlers from every promotion are breaking character to send their support. John Cena, who has granted more Make-A-Wish requests than anyone in WWE history, immediately reached out to offer any support possible. The Rock, Roman's real-life cousin, has been reportedly by his side throughout this journey. But this is where it gets really emotional, and this is going to hit you right in the gut. Roman's daughter, despite everything she's going through, has been watching her daddy's matches from her hospital bed. Nurses and doctors have reported seeing her making the "acknowledge me" gesture during her treatments, using her father's strength as inspiration for her own battle. Can you even imagine the emotional weight Roman carries every time he steps into that ring? Every Superman punch isn't just a wrestling move. It's him channeling every ounce of fight he wishes he could give to his daughter. Every victory celebration is bittersweet because the championship that really matters, his daughter's health, is still being fought for. The wrestling industry has seen its share of real-life tragedies, but this hits different. This isn't about an aging wrestler dealing with the consequences of a long career. This is about an innocent child, the daughter of one of WWE's biggest stars, facing a battle that no child should ever have to fight. What's absolutely infuriating is thinking about all the backstage politics, all the booking decisions, all the creative meetings that Roman has had to sit through while his mind was elsewhere. While people were debating whether his character was stale or if he needed a heel turn, he was researching pediatric oncology and learning about treatment options that no parent should have to understand. The strength this man has shown is beyond comprehension. Think about your worst day at work, your biggest professional challenge, and then multiply that by 1,000. That doesn't even come close to what Roman has been dealing with. Yet he's continued to show up, continued to perform, continued to be the reliable main event star that WWE depends on. This revelation is changing how the entire wrestling community views Roman Reigns. Those who criticized his push are now understanding that his success isn't just about sports entertainment, it's about providing for his family during the most expensive and emotionally draining time imaginable. Medical bills for childhood cancer treatment can bankrupt families, but Roman's position in WWE ensures his daughter gets the best possible care. The irony is absolutely staggering. While Roman Reigns was being positioned as WWE's top guy, the most protected wrestler on the roster, his real-life story was about being completely helpless against an opponent that doesn't care about your finishing moves or your storyline protection. The man they call Superman has been facing his kryptonite every single day. Here's what's really getting to people: Roman never used this as an excuse. He never publicly sought sympathy or used his daughter's condition to gain fan support. He handled this with the same professionalism he brings to everything else, keeping his family's privacy intact while dealing with unimaginable stress. The wrestling world is learning what real championship material looks like. It's not about how many titles you hold or how many times you main event pay-per-views. It's about showing up for your family when they need you most, about finding strength you didn't know you had, about fighting battles that the cameras never capture. Roman's daughter is reportedly responding well to treatment, showing the same fighting spirit that runs in her family's DNA. But the journey is far from over, and the wrestling community is making it clear that they're standing with the Reigns family every step of the way. This story is bigger than wrestling. It's about a father's love, about finding strength in the darkest moments, about the battles that really matter happening away from the spotlight. Roman Reigns isn't just the tribal chief in WWE, he's showing what it means to be the chief protector of his family when it matters most. The next time you see Roman Reigns on your screen, remember that you're looking at a man who has redefined what it means to be a champion. Not because of his accolades in sports entertainment, but because of how he's handled the most important match of his life, being a father to a daughter who needs him to be stronger than any character he's ever portrayed. The wrestling world will never look at Roman Reigns the same way again. And honestly, that's exactly how it should be. Because now we know what a real Superman looks like, and it has nothing to do with finishing moves or championship reigns. It's about showing up for the fights that truly matter, even when the whole world is watching for completely different reasons. This is WrestlingNewsCC, and we stand with Roman Reigns and his family during this incredibly difficult time. Because some battles are bigger than wrestling, and some victories matter more than any championship could ever represent. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the WrestlingNewsCC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.